Katrina, thank you so much for being here.
Yeah, thank you, Patsy, for the introduction. This morning we're talking about digital equity and inclusion and how different adult education programs across the state can leverage community resources to help bridge or close the digital divide. My name is Katrina Benson, and I'm currently at Neighborhood House. I've been at Neighborhood House for about 2.5 years, and my role there has changed quite a bit. So I started as the digital inclusion coordinator with, and the Neighborhood House received an ACP outreach grant. So I became the digital inclusion program supervisor. And I am currently the the director of adult education programs at Neighborhood House. So my role has changed quite a bit. But as I was in kind of the digital inclusion arena, I leveraged a lot of different resources in the community, and I think they're really valuable. And I want to make sure that I can kind of share with you all the different strategies we've used in the past 2.5 years and kind of what those have done for our participants. At my tenure at Neighborhood House, I've also rebooted the Technology Literacy Collaborative. So I have our LinkedIn group hyperlinked in the bottom left of this slide. Please know that all the resources that I'm going to mention are going to be available in the Sched app after the presentation. So I would really appreciate it if you stayed with me on the slides. And then we'll explore things. We'll have time towards the end of this session to explore resources that are available to you regionally. So without further ado, we're gonna dive in. Before I even start and give kind of a more national picture of what's going on, I would really like to know what comes to your mind when I say the words digital inclusion or digital equity, right? So if you have a phone next to you, you're welcome to scan the QR code here. And then you'll be able to join and add a few thoughts. If you would prefer, Patsy, thank you so much. Patsy has dropped the link to this poll everywhere in the chat. So go ahead and take a moment using the device of your choice to kind of share what comes to mind when I say those words. I'm curious. I have to click the response button. Thank you for your patience with me. Okay. So we have a word cloud here. Okay, students, staff, speed, literacy, accessibility, access. Let's see. I'm seeing some domains in life as well that people would use these tools or skills for, right? So classes, online, work. Yeah, beautiful. Working remote, maybe school or classes remote. Yeah, the poll was full. Yeah, thank you, Krista. Krista, if you have anything more you want to add, you can throw it in the chat. But thank you for taking a moment to fill our word cloud. I hope that this presentation today will address some creative ways that your program could begin to close some of the accessibility gaps. So here we go. To kind of situate ourselves, I hope that I can go to the next slide. There we go. So these are our shared goals for the session. I'm hoping that you all will be able to collaboratively problem solve with peers based on the challenges that you experience in your region. And I'm hoping that you'll be able to leave this session with at least 2 new resources that you can use in your own context. So we're going to start with some definitions to make sure we're all on the same page. We're going to look, those definitions are going to give us a sneak peek as to what's going on nationally. We'll then zoom in and look at the Minnesota context. Then we're going to talk about what's happened at Neighborhood House. And we'll move into some breakout rooms towards the end and then come back into a full session for questions and share outs. So a few definitions. I know this is a huge brick of text, but bear with me here. So the NDIA, the National Digital Inclusion Alliance, defines the digital divide, right, as people, okay, so it's the activities necessary to ensure that individuals and their communities have access to and use. So it's not only having a device that's updated and working and having internet in the home, it's also, right, the skills to be able to use it. So the different elements that are a part of this, right? You need an affordable broadband in the home that is robust enough to support all the people in your home. Okay, so the speed needs to support, if you have 5 people in your home, can it support all 5 people? We also want to make sure that the devices you have are updated, the software is working, right? There's a lot of pieces that go in there, like, sure, here's an iPad from 5 years ago, but is it updated? Is it off the original network? Can you like download your own apps on it, right? Like there are things to think about there. Do you have the skills that you need? Do you have quality technical support? That is a huge thing to think about. And then as well as, do you have the applications, online content that you need, right, for self-sufficiency and participation in the online world? So it's ensuring that that everybody has what they need of these categories. Okay, so that is the digital divide, is saying not everybody has this, right? And we want to make sure that we can close this and make sure that we do. Okay, I'm realizing that my definitions got wonky here. I'm really apologize. This slide should be, I'm going to fix this now so it's all, this is digital inclusion. I was like, that doesn't make sense. Okay, defines digital inclusion. Welcome to early morning. Digital inclusion. Okay. What I just described is digital inclusion. This is the goal. This is what we want everyone to have. Okay, the divide is the gap from those things where people do not have those things. Okay, yeah, thanks for your support in the chat. I'm like, that doesn't make sense. Okay, great. Yep. Okay, now we're gonna move in. Okay, this one is digital equity. So important to make sure that the communities that we serve, right, have the technology capacity for full participation in society, democracy, and economy. So something that I've really pushed and like really highlighted, right, when, you know, teachers are thinking like, this is one more thing I have to do in the classroom, right? But I also highlight, like, if you have a court date, that can happen on Zoom. If you have a medical doctor's appointment, that can happen on like an online platform to talk to your doctor, right? Work applications, applying for work is online, right? A lot of our domains have transferred to getting information online, and our participants need to be able to navigate those areas and systems, right? So equity is the long-term goal where we would all love to be, right? Whereas inclusion is kind of where we're at now to bring in these other pieces. Okay. Woo, thank you for sticking with me on that. Okay, so Nationally, I know that a lot of us are aware that ACP, the Affordable Connectivity Program, which was an internet discount, is no longer offered. It is a program that has been sunset. Although that has been sunset, I do really want to highlight that Lifeline is still available. So these are both hyperlinked in the slides, and you are going to be welcome to explore this after the session. But Lifeline is $9.25, so I know not a lot, but it's a monthly discount on either a phone bill or an internet bill for, every month. If your participants are already qualifying and receiving SNAP benefits, they automatically qualify for Lifeline. There's a little sticking point here, which is the consumer, so the participant has to be able to communicate with their either phone provider or internet provider about what's going on, and then tell them where the benefit is coming from. So this is something, right, that I would encourage sharing information about online. There's like a toolkit. So if we follow this link here, there are the community education handouts are all here for you. So it goes through how to manage your benefit, how to apply. And then I believe that they also have these available in other languages. So you can bop around the website here. Please do be careful. You may have noticed like free tablets or free phone distributions, and often those companies are using this benefit on behalf of the participant and maybe not sharing the full story about the benefit being a part of the free tablet. And often those companies also are not providing technical support or assistance when the tablet stops working. So I do caution participants about that. Okay, we're gonna pop on back. So please know that this is a resource still available to you. And then this is just a heads up. Nationally, the Digital Equity Act competitive grant program is open. They've released a notice of funding opportunity, and that was opened pretty recently on July 24th. Now, super important to note, like, don't go rushing to apply for this because the minimum ask is $5 million. So the main entities that are going to be applying for this, city, county, right? It's not the state program. I'm going to talk about that in a second, but cities, counties, larger entities will be able to apply for this. So if you have partnerships with your city, with your county, reach out to them and ask if they're applying for this. And they may ask you like, well, what do you want to see in our application? Like if you were to be a sub-grantee of our application, what do you want to see? Right. And I'll give you some ideas for that coming up, but just good to know that this is happening in the background. Okay, so Minnesota. This is a really fun interactive map right here. This is the Digital Divide Index. So you can open this guy here, and then I believe you put in a zip code, and it will show you, it's an interactive map that will show you who has connectivity, and it's parsed out as into low connectivity, moderate, and then high connectivity, because some people are connected, but they're connected using data on their phone. They're not connected with high-speed broadband in the home, right? So there's so many layers. This is such a nuanced topic, and it's like really important things to think about. So you can scroll down, you can look at the scores, you can zoom in. If I zoom in here, let's see what we got. Takes a little bit to load. Okay. And so you can click on an area. I've just clicked on Rochester here, and you can see the average download speed, the average upload speed. Okay. And again, this is from 2022. So keep in mind, it's not super updated and accurate, but it is still an interesting tool to use as you look at your area and your region. So that'll give you a little more information about kind of the different layers of connectivity here. Okay. Okay. One other thing. So I mentioned that nationally we have the competitive grant NOFO, which is open. We are waiting for the Minnesota Digital Opportunity Plan capacity grant to be approved. Okay, so stay like ears open, eyes open, right, about this, because once this is approved, the smaller capacity grants, which are non-competitive, will be opened for adult education programs, right, libraries, whoever it is who wants to apply for this type of funding. If you want more information about that, you can check out the Digital Opportunity Plan website, which I've linked here, and that'll get updated as soon as it's approved and the capacity grants are opened. So those are going to have a much lower ask. It's not going to be $5 million like the capacity one, competitive one. Guys, I like said the wrong definition and now I'm like tripping up. Okay. So let's talk about the digital inclusion team at Neighborhood House really quick. So again, we've gone through different iterations of what the program has looked like. But I first want to talk about what Neighborhood House is. So although we provide adult education services, we are an organization that has a whole bunch of different arms. We have a free food market, we have housing stability, we have youth literacy, we have a whole bunch of different stuff, right? We have family centers to help people in crisis. And all of these different tools kind of make us a one-stop shop for a family or for whoever it is that is seeking either education or digital access, whatever it may be. So I will say we are very lucky to be able to do a lot of internal referrals within our organization. And so we're going to talk about a few of the different things we've tried to ensure that our participants get internet connection in the home, as well as a working and updated device. So I really encourage you to find your local laptop refurbishers. PCs for People has sites throughout the state, as well as in the metro area. And we had leftover COVID CARES Act funding where we were able to just purchase flat out 30 refurbished laptops and then distribute them to our learners. PCs for People also came to us, which was incredible, right? So they came to us, they brought the laptops, they did the setup, and then we were responsible for ensuring that our participants came on that day. And then I had a university crew do a one-time volunteer opportunity to do the setup with the laptop one-on-one with participants. So that's what we were able to do. Now, I know a lot of us don't have funding just laying around anymore, right? And so we were able to solidify a partnership with Minnesota Tech for Success, and they have given us 2 rounds of laptops. They donated the refurbished devices to Neighborhood House with the agreement that we would ask, not require, but ask participants for their story to be shared with Minnesota Tech for Success's funders who made that a reality. And it's been really fun. Some participants have been like, of course, like take my picture with my new laptop, like yes. And then others have declined to share their information, and that's okay too. But that was a creative way that we were able to get like more of a stream of laptops coming into us to be distributed to the families who need them. So that's just been fun to see participants like being able to go home and take a device with them to keep. Okay. Another thing that we have leveraged, right, are the digital navigators, the people who can meet one-on-one with the participants, the families, right, to talk through the different layers that are going on in their household, right? So for K-12 schools, a lot of times if they have kiddos in the home, the devices go back to school over the summer. And then the family is like, well, now none of us have a device to use, right? Other things I've seen is if we're working with Lifeline and we're trying to apply an internet discount, sometimes the internet bill or the phone bill is in like the sister-in-law's name, right? And then that can complicate the transfer of the benefit, right? And so just like there, it's so layered and each situation is so unique that digital navigators are truly needed to work one-on-one with the families. So I'm going to talk about some different like ways we've done that. So we partnered with the local library in 2021, and this is when ACP was still happening. And the library had a digital navigator who was able to offer appointments with our learners. So the navigator came in, we did a presentation to our classes, and then after the presentation, learners were able to make appointments. So that's one thing to think about, is reaching out to your local library. Often libraries also have drop-in tech hours, but get to know your librarians, get to know like if they're comfortable with a soft referral or a hard referral process, especially if you don't have in-house digital navigators. Think about how you can refer your participants to the library and what makes sense for you in your program. Also reach out to local universities. The University of Minnesota has something called a pre-internship project. High impact, short duration. We've done this at Neighborhood House 3 times. And so we get a crew of 3 to 5 undergraduate students, and they are with us for 40 hours of the week. Okay. And so the times that we have done this, it has been those undergraduate students are doing one-on-one appointments to distribute the laptops. Okay, so they're saying, okay, we're going to create a Microsoft account, Microsoft ID. We're going to make sure that you know your password to get into the laptop. We're going to make sure that you can get into your email account. We're going to make sure that you can get online to access your classes as well as your distance learning platforms, right? And then, is there anything else you're going to use your computer for? Do we need to bookmark your bank account or talk about internet safety online? And again, those are not conversations that anyone really would want to have in a large group. So another reason why one-on-one is really where we have tried to move our energy towards. Some more recent successes for leveraging digital navigators have been through Hired and Merrick in the metro area. And they have a human services partnership where they send us an intern, and the intern is paid through their Hired and Merrick program. So this summer, we've had an incredible intern, just absolutely incredible. And she completed her, so she goes through like coursework, high intensity coursework, okay, where she's also paid for that coursework. And then when she graduates the course that is focused on human services, she interviews with different internship providers. And then we offered the internship to her. And again, she's paid by that outside entity. And then she comes and works for us 20 hours a week, and she's absolutely incredible. We have another one starting with us September 9th. And we're really excited about that partnership. So I've linked their website, but if you specifically are in the metro and you're like, we want that, feel free to reach out to me via LinkedIn or on the Sched app, and I can introduce you directly to the program coordinator there. And then just always keeping in the back of your mind AmeriCorps partners. There are 3 different AmeriCorps programs that offer some type of digital navigation. So ACC American Connection Corps has a digital navigator program. Literacy Minnesota has launched a digital navigator AmeriCorps program, and then CTEP, which has been around for a while, has as well. That can be a little more tricky than the hired and Merrick because you have to annually budget for the service stipend, right, for the AmeriCorps partner. So it can be tricky depending on the financial situation of your organization and your context, but knowing that they are there is always helpful. Also, recruiting has been tricky the past couple of years. So just, pros and cons to think about in any context. Okay. So that was my rapid fire kind of national, local, and then what Neighborhood House has done. We are going to bump into a few breakout rooms now. And so my goal for you all in the breakout room is to maybe, kind of process that brain dump that just happened. And then also think about your context, your local libraries, right? Your local university internship programs, any of that type of a thing. And then add any resources that you may already be using or that we don't know about to a Padlet. So the instructions, I'm going to come back to this slide, Patsy. Thank you for dropping the instructions. So when you get into your breakout rooms, it'll be by region. You'll introduce yourself to those in the group if you don't already know each other. You'll review the Padlet that I've constructed for the metro area. And then as you are able, as there is time, you're going to add additional resources from your area that you use, or use a Google search to find local library, city county resources, local device refurbishers, or local community-based organizations. So I'm going to click on back. Patsy will open the breakout rooms in just a moment. And they're set up so that you can choose what region you are in. Okay, so that you'll be going with your regional group here. And then we also have the Padlet link in the chat. And I really breezed through that. So I think we have a solid 10 minutes in the breakout rooms.
Yeah, that was what I was going to suggest. So take a look, see where you are on the map, because this map might look different than other regional EBE maps that are out circulating. And then when I open the groups, you'll choose your own adventure as far as which group you join, and you'll have 10 minutes in those groups. And I'm going to go ahead and open them, and the instructions are in the chat. Any questions? I'm not seeing any. But hang back if you have them, or if you don't see the option to join, if you haven't downloaded the latest version or have an old computer, sometimes you need a little help getting to your room. We can help you out. Here you go. So I'm seeing only one person in Northwest so far, Katrina, but several people haven't joined yet. So anyone in Northwest who needs a hand getting there. And then there's some of you who haven't joined a group. If you're not sure how to get there, if you're not seeing the option to join, if you want to put in the chat where you'd like to go, and we can get you there. Debbie, 1 second. Suzanne, I see you. Eileen, 1 second. Sure, Beth, where would you like to go? Christine, I see you want to go to Northwest, 1 second. Bonnie, 1 moment. John, Esmeralda. Beth, 1 second. Lapita, John, Evans, and Esmeralda. I'm not sure where you'd like to go. Southeast. 1 second, Esmeralda. Katrina, do you want to, or do you want to pop into Northwest and see if she wants to jump into Northeast instead?
Sure. When I leave, the screen will go away.
Oh, good point. I think it's okay.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay. Um,
Patsy, I accidentally went back to the main session. Can you put me in Metro? This is Debbie.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Let me see where you. It says you are in there. You just need to hit the blue button, Debbie, to join. You're not seeing that option? You might navigate to your toolbar and see if you can hit the more button. There's a blue button should appear that allows you to join. Because you are assigned to that room already. Nothing?
What's my group? Where am I assigned to?
Tell me who's speaking?
Evans. Where am I assigned?
Evans. It depends on where you live. What area of this state do you live in?
I live in Minnesota.
Yeah, which part? Are you in the metro area?
Yeah, here in Big Lake, Elk River.
Elk River. I'm gonna put you in central Minnesota, I think, because that's a smaller group here. 1 second. And then John Krennic and Cepeda. Forgive me if I'm mispronouncing. If you're not joining, that's totally fine. But if you want to join and can't see how, let me know. And I see someone on an iPhone. I'm sorry, I can't see your name. Is there a group I can put you in? If that's too tricky, it's okay. Just want to make sure you have the option. John, I see it bumped you back. Did you want to go to a room? If not, that's okay. You're Hi, Rachel.
Hi Patsy, how are you?
Good. We'll come
You
back
have a
and
little,
just.
you have a little friend
Oh,
down there?
I'm dog sitting this little one. She's a little nervous, so I'm just like, while we're in the breakout, I can hold you, but then you got to do your thing. Welcome back.
Thank you.
We have a few more seconds before all the groups come back here. Welcome back. Thanks for taking time to talk to your colleagues.
Absolutely.
Hopefully you found some people nearby you.
Yep. I'm gonna just close my video and all that.
Yeah, for sure.
Mhm.
All right, just a couple seconds and everyone will be back here. All right. Let me restart the recording. Are you ready, Christina? Katrina?
Can everyone see my screen? Are we
Yeah,
good?
we have share out and questions.
Okay, perfect.
All right, let me
So,
restart the recording. 1 second. Go.
okay, yeah, first session of the day here. Yeah, we're doing great. Okay, so I would like to have us back here. We have about 4 more minutes. This is a time to either share some takeaways that you talked about in your regional groups or to ask any larger questions in the whole group. You can go ahead and unmute or throw it in the chat.
Someone mentioned in our group that they didn't get a chance to look through all the Padlet resources yet, but that they were excited about it. And I would like to echo that. And also would love to continue using this Padlet as sort of a one-stop shop because things change so often. And I'm relatively new to my role, so I've learned a bunch, but even in the short time I've been here, things have changed. So I hope that other people too would like to continue using this Padlet just to share resources.
Yeah, that sounds good. I can keep it open. I don't have any intention of closing it or deleting it by any means. So please do continue to add to it. And just as I was presenting this morning, I realized I forgot to mention that, and again, this is a sticky issue, but Comcast Internet Essentials offers affordable internet in the home. And people who qualify for that program then automatically qualify to buy a brand new device for $150 through Internet Essentials. So I'm going to add that resource to the Padlet. They have a website in English and Spanish, which is really helpful. And that's a resource particularly for learners or students who do have a little discretionary funding to purchase a device through that program. But I always, if they have the money, that's the one I recommend because it's a brand new device. Whereas for the refurbished devices, those we all know, right? Those can be a little more finicky and may not last as long as a brand new one. Thank you, Betsy. Thank you, Mary Beth. Okay, Thank you so much for your time in attending this session today. I have my phone number here as well as my email address. And then earlier in the presentation, you can always find me on LinkedIn as well. I've got that linked up. So I will do a few edits here and make sure that by the end of the day, the SCED app is fully updated. And I really appreciate you all staying in, listening, and then, continuing to digest this information. It's a lot to take in. So keep doing the good work that you're all doing, and please reach out if you have any questions.
Thank you so much, Katrina. And if you can find your applause or thumbs up, go ahead and do that. And we will go ahead and close the recording and you can make your way to your next session. Thank you so much, everybody. And thank you, Katrina, for doing the heavy lifting here for us.